Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I'm tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a V-Series circa 2009 Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust. This is the 116201 in Everose red gold and 904L stainless steel, 36 millimeters in diameter. This watch is 11.8 millimeters thick, lug-to-lug, just the case, 44 millimeters. Add the end links to the bracelet, and 45.2 is the total distance across the wrist with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll take a look at the watch to scale on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and it's a perfect size. 36 historically is a men's watch at Rolex, though today it's wonderfully versatile and unisex. This watch splits the difference between a sports watch and a dress watch. Elegant, definitely, fitting underneath a tight cuff, but it's also 100 meters water resistant, highly resilient, shock resistant. A little bit more on that in a moment. What you can see clearly, though, is that this watch could wear on a smaller wrist than mine. So think about 13.5 centimeters circumference and up, and the best angle, the truest angle, is this down the barrel shot where you can see the lugs and the end links are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. Oyster style bracelet. This is where the watch is a little bit sportier maybe than the dial would suggest. The Oyster is a 3-link design often seen on GMTs, Daytonas, Submariners, Sea Dwellers, and it has larger individual links. Visually, it's a little bit more, I would say, muscular in aesthetic because the links are larger than on the Jubilee or the President. The watch is made entirely Rolex. Rolex has its own foundry. It creates its own alloys. So it creates its own cases, bracelets, and clasps. So the steel is 904L, which is particularly resistant against oxidation or tarnish due to exposure to body sweat or sea salt. And then the Everose red gold has a higher percentage of copper to make it redder and a higher percentage of platinum to secure it against fading over time. Removable links are fixed in place using screws, and you can see there's several of them on each side. We have an easy link tool-free adjustment system, snap in, snap out. That's 5 millimeters of extension. We also have 3 pairs of divots drilled inside the clasp, which can be used with a strap tool to change the anchoring point of the bracelet. We have this clasp that features a beak and a hook, a lift lock system. You can see how it's pivoted and hinged, so it actually does latch shut. You can't just pull it open. You need to unlock it, so there's a degree of security there. Thick gauge steel, external as well as internal clasp, and straight through rose gold with the 5-point coronet rolling back to the case. Rolex uses conforming end links to more neatly mate the bracelet to the case. We have an Oyster-style case. The Oyster, of course, dating back to 1926, one of the first practical solutions to the problem of water resistance in watches. This one's got a solid screwed-in Oyster case back and a twin-lock crown in gold. And you know that it's a twin-lock crown in gold because it has 2 dots. The symbol will always let you know what type of Rolex crown and what material you're looking at. Because this is a 116201, the 0 means we have this domed bezel, giving way to a slightly boxed sapphire with the sapphire's Cyclops eye magnifier. Now this is a true white dial. It's not silver white. It's a lacquered white. So think white paint and you got the general idea. Outboard you can see the Rolex Confidence ring that was implemented from the early to mid 2000s. We have baton style hands in rose gold faceted down the center for better contrast. Radially arrayed and applied 3-dimensional rose gold Roman numerals including a watchmaker's 4. Inside the case Rolex caliber 3135, a manufacturer movement, bidirectional automatic winding, 48-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 31 pivot jewels. It has both a quick set date and a hacking or stop seconds function. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, passing the 2-week plus test of positions and temperatures, asserting that this watch has met the standards of the COSC and the ISO 3159. What else can I tell you about this movement? Well, the architecture includes a full balance bridge and a free-sprung microstella style balance. The full bridge and the free-sprung architecture makes the watch particularly shock tolerant. The microstella system on the balance is a Rolex innovation. You move the bolts in and out and change the polar moment or turning force, and so it's the movement of those bolts rather than a vulnerable stub index that actually changes the timing. So shock to the watch can't change the timing of the watch with the microstella system. Rolex uses a Breguet overcoil hairspring that allows this watch to keep very consistent time in every position because an overcoil has a more centered mass than a flat hairspring. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.